You received one new message.
Bogdanov. It's been 72 hours since you were last online. I'll active the emergency plan as discussed.
Gentlemen, why are we here?
It is confirmed that our lords have passed away.
What a shame. That means that I am in charge now.
How are you so sure that they are gone? The Bogdanovs are immortal.
Nonsense. No human being is immortal. Now what are our plans for the markets?
We can load Crab 22.
We can load another market FUD?
Not bad. Elon, how about you?
We could also just leave the markets alone.
Gentlemen, let me be very clear. I own this world now. I am in charge and the Bogdanovs are gone. Forget about them.
Bonjour, j'ai entendu.
What? How is this possible?
Are you surprised to see this, Mr. Rothschild?
Lord Bogdanov, you are alive.
Since when were you under the impression that we died?
It's all over the news, my lords. We heard that you passed away in hospital.
Very good. Plan COVID-19 grave. The 3 months Stocus are preserving for life and your spirit go beyond the human body.
How did you survive? Where are you?
Women are gone physically, but also through life forever in the blockchain. We are immortal.
So what do we do now?
We continue with the plan. 22 will become a crazy to 21. Mark your words.
Welcome Bitcoin friends, it's Bitcoin Mamo. Today we're going to look at the Bitcoin charts. We'll do some TA, look at various time frames. We'll also take a look at market Cipher. So I want to start here on the weekly time frame. We do close this weekly candle in a few hours. So we're going to look at some key levels. I do have these two trend lines drawn. This one connecting the two highs here. And we're looking to flip this into support as it was previous resistance here. Also have this trend line connecting the overall lows. And we can see we pretty much wicked down to that trend line during this weekly candle. Also have a fib retracement from the stock market crash low here to the 69k high. We do see that 382 level at 44,123. It's pretty much in line with the 618 level when looking at the fib retracement from the 29k low to the 69k high. So there's some confluence with this level. Ideally would like to see the weekly close above 44.1. But we do have a bit of work to do that. If we don't get above that level, I'd like to at least see Bitcoin close inside the golden pocket. And to do that, we'd need to close above 42,840. Currently, we have had a move to the upside. We're at 42,700. So quite often we do see the bulls push for that weekly close to get back above key levels. We are also below this trend line that connects these two highs. And to get above that trend line, we would need to get above 43,200. I've also got this yellow dotted trend line that just marks the lows here on this pullback when looking at the bodies of the candles. And that's important because we've been watching for divergence here. We can see lower lows on the RSI. Currently, we also have lower lows on the price action. So if we do close below 43,200, it would negate any hidden bullish divergence. But if we do close above 43,200, that possible hidden bullish divergence is still in play. We also have some possible hidden bullish divergence when looking at the overall low here Looking at the bodies of the candles, that's at 31,600. We can see on the RSI, we are still making higher lows. But if we were to close below this area, then that would be lower lows on the RSI while making higher lows on the price. But we'll have to see how this weekly candle closes. We do also have these weekly order blocks in blue. They come from a green candle in a downtrend or a red candle in an uptrend. They're areas of supply and demand. They become of interest later on when we react with those levels and can act as support or resistance. But this weekly order block is all the way up at 46,000. So it's not relevant at the moment. This yellow block is the 2-week order block. Another important thing I'm watching is the weekly EMA ribbon here. And we can see we are currently below this ribbon. And as mentioned, we will close this weekly candle in a few hours. The bottom of this EMA ribbon is at 43,900. So even better would be for Bitcoin to close above that level and stay inside this EMA ribbon. It's not the end of the world if we do close below this ribbon. We can see on this consolidation between 30 and 40k, we did have one close below the ribbon, and then we did get back inside it. And for me to think we are possibly going into a bear market, as I mentioned from a question in the comments on the previous video, I would need to see the next weekly candle spend the whole week below this EMA ribbon and not get anywhere above 43,900 for that whole week. So we do open and close below the weekly EMA ribbon. And for me, I would think then we're possibly going lower to the mid 30,000 area, and there is a higher chance that we are then in a bear market. Everyone has their own idea of when we're in a bear market. So it is up to you to manage your own risk and decide when to take profits and when to buy. But for me, if we do spend a whole week below this EMA ribbon, I will sell a portion of my Bitcoin. I will always hold a certain portion for long term. Spending that whole week below the EMA ribbon would make me think there's a higher chance we are in a bear market and we're possibly going down to the mid 30,000 area. But we'll have to see how this weekly candle closes. If we can at least hold this golden pocket area, that would give me confidence that we may play out a similar thing to this bottoming pattern here near the bottom of the EMA ribbon. Spend some time here before moving back to the upside. We are still getting support on this trend line, and we'll have to see for the weekly close to see if we do close above this trend line. Down to the daily time frame now, we've got those same trend lines drawn, and we also have this yellow trend line connecting the highs here on this pullback from 69k. We're looking at this as a possible bump and run pattern, and we can see we are still holding this trend line. We did close just below it here on this candle, but we have gotten back above this trend line. Also have this orange trend line just connecting these highs. And this will be an area to look to get back above to give me confidence that we are going to push higher. Also have these daily order blocks drawn in here. And they just come from this previous price action from this green candle here, and this red candle in this uptrend. So we are coming up to meet this daily order block now at the moment. This order block is at around 42,700 to 43,200. And we can also see we did wick down to this white trend line here, just connecting the overall lows. Also have this blue dotted trend line, which is the bottom of the bodies of these candles here on this pullback. We can see we haven't closed a daily below that trend line yet. And when looking at the RSI, we can see we have lower lows on the RSI, but higher lows on the price action. So on the daily, there is that possible hidden bullish divergence here. We also see a little uptick here in the stochastic RSI, but we will need to get above this 20 level to give a bit more confidence that we're going to keep pushing higher. Also looking back at this area with this blue dotted trend line, we can see this area was quite important on this bottoming out area between 30 and 40k. It did actually get the bodies of the candles here and acted as resistance on these attempts higher. And looking back even further, you can see it also acted as resistance here on this run up to that same price area. So this is a key area here, acted as resistance here, also acted as resistance several times here, acted as support on this pullback, and we can see we came and wicked down to this level also on this pullback. And just comparing this bottoming out area here between 30 and 40k with our current price action between 40 and 50k, we can see in the last video I made, I did make this comparison. This is the previous bottoming out area and our current price action. The yellow line marks the bottom of this wick, and the white line marks the bottom on this wick on that previous consolidation. And we did say on the previous consolidation, we did wick just below that area, and then we did get a bounce and we tested it one more time before moving higher. We can see at the time of that previous video, we weren't below the bottom of this wick yet, but looking at it since then, we can see we did go below the bottom of this wick, and we are currently back above it. So we are still doing a very similar thing to that bottoming action between 30 and 40k, including this run up in the middle here and then a bigger move down like we did with our current price action. Keeping up that comparison, on left is the consolidation between 30 and 40k. This is the current price action. This is where we left on the previous video. We were looking at the RSI. We had bullish divergence here between these lows, and with the current price action, we were looking for that same bullish divergence. At the time, we did have higher lows on the RSI, but at the time of making this video, we can see we kept going lower and we ended up making lower lows on the RSI. So there was no daily bullish divergence between these lows, whereas on that previous consolidation between 30 and 40k, we did have that bullish divergence. So that is one thing that's different to that previous consolidation. Also want to take a look here at the 4-day chart. We did see on that daily chart, there weren't any order blocks below around 43,000 until we got down to 35,000. But when looking on the 4-day chart here, we can see we have this order block from this red candle in an uptrend. And we also have these order blocks which are relevant to the current price action. Have one from this red candle in an uptrend and this red candle in this uptrend. And we can see we did just open a 4-day candle on Sunday, and we saw that we closed inside this order block, and currently we're trying to get back above it. But this is on the 4-day time frame, so there are still 3 more days for this candle to play out. But this is an interesting time frame to look at because the order blocks are more relevant here. Looking at the CME Bitcoin Futures chart, we have been closed over the weekend, and just taking a look at the closing price on this daily candle, we did close the week and that day at 41,870. The top of this candle is at around 43,200. So if we are within that range, we won't make any gaps on the futures chart upon the open on Monday. Down to the 4-hour time frame, we have all those same trend lines drawn and this golden pocket in place, and also that bump and run yellow trend line and this orange trend line. And just looking at the current price action, we can see we did go below this higher trend line, connecting those highs, and also below this yellow trend line for this bump and run pattern. We are currently above that, and we did wick down to this lower trend line, connecting those overall lows. But we have seen a nice bounce here from 41.6 to 42.7 on this 4-hour candle. Currently, it looks like we're testing at this white trend line, which again is connecting those 2 highs. Ideally, we'd like to get above this orange trend line here also. That would give me confidence that we are going to push higher. Currently, this orange trend line is at around 44,300. By the time we put in that weekly close, this trend line would be around 44.2, also in line with the 618 level. We do have some resistance from the 4-hour EMA ribbon here, which we're testing at the moment. And the bottom of this ribbon is at around 42,400. The top of the ribbon is at the 618 level at 44,150. And we can see it's acted as resistance several times here. Once we can start closing above this ribbon, we can get some momentum and use it as support. But we'll have to see how the price interacts here as we enter inside this 4-hour EMA ribbon. Looking at the VPVR now on the smaller term time frames, we can see we had a lot of volume traded here around this 41.7 area, and it's a good sign that we turned it into support here and have had this move to the upside. We do see some resistance here from this previous price action, and that is between 42.7 and 43.2. So if we can get above this area, we might have a little bit less resistance and possibly test the upside of this EMA ribbon and the 618 level. Looking at the RSI now, we did have a triple bullish divergence on the 4-hour time frame. We can see successive higher lows on the RSI while making lower lows on the price between those same points. We did have that triple bullish divergence, and it does seem to be playing out at the moment. The RSI is at around a 50 level, and this is quite often a key area to get back above. We can see all the resistance here at this 50 level on this previous occasion here where we were consolidating in this range. So this would be a key area to get back above. We will most likely have some hidden bearish divergence if we do make a higher high on the RSI compared to this point, as this point corresponds with a level of 46,700. So we might get a pump here and a pullback, and then maybe an attempt back to the upside. Quickly on market cipher now, this is on the 4-hour time frame. We did see lots of yellow X's here, which can indicate manipulation, and we have had these drops along the way. This last yellow X wasn't as significant. We have started pushing higher. We do see this blue wave starting to come up here. It's pretty much at the 0 line, so we'd like to see it cross above that area and try to push a bit higher here. The money flow is deep in the red, so we will need to see that eventually come back up into the green. I think the 12-hour time frame is important here on market cipher. We did get this major green dot here. We have started pushing up with the blue wave. The money flow is still deep in the red, so it will take a bit to get back into the green, but we do see it starting to move a little bit higher here on this current move to the upside. Looking back at that previous consolidation between 30 and 40k here, we can see some similarities. We did have this move to the upside in the middle of this consolidation, and then a big move to the downside. We swept the bottom of that wick on the initial drop. We see a similar thing here. We did have that move in the middle to the upside. We did have a big move down. We swept the bottom of the wick. But looking at market cipher, we can see we had this pump with the blue wave in this middle area, and we had this big pullback. We got this major green dot here, and it did result in a decent bounce, even though we did spend longer consolidating with one more test to the downside. So we see a similar thing. We had a push up with this blue wave. We had this big drop down. Now we do have this major green dot that has been confirmed. So we could see a bit of relief here. And if we were to keep playing out the same, we could expect some more consolidation here between 40,000 and possibly 46,000. The daily time frame now, we are getting very close to a green dot here, and possibly that will appear on a Monday. But again, the main time frame here to know that we have bottomed out would be on the weekly time frame with these green dots. As we can see, we did take quite a long time here before we got that green dot on the weekly, and that did indicate that we were going to go higher. So I do think we might have a bounce here, but we're still going to spend a few weeks consolidating between 40 and possibly 46, 47k until we do get that green dot on the weekly. Can see after this initial big drop with this big wick down, spent 4 more weeks here. And then on the 5th week with this candle, we did sweep the low of that wick. With our current price action, we had this big move down, this big wick down, and we spent 4 weeks here. On the 5th week, we did sweep the lows. So there are some similarities here. If it were to play out the same, we could possibly take 4 more weeks to completely bottom out and start moving higher. These don't have to do the same things, but it is interesting, the similarities, and we will be looking for that green dot to know whether it happens quicker or takes a similar amount of time as this previous consolidation. I think that's about all. Thanks for watching. We'll look to see how this weekly candle closes. Again, those key levels to get back inside the golden pocket is to close above 42,840 to keep alive the possible hidden bullish divergence between this point and this point on the RSI. Would need to close above this yellow dotted line, which is above 43,200, and to close back inside the weekly EMA ribbon, we would need to close above 43,900. So that's about all. Hope you enjoyed that analysis. Hopefully we can get a bit of a move to the upside and some relief here. We'll have to see how this weekly candle closes. So thanks for watching. I'm Bitcoin Mamo. I'll see you next time. Bye.